Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today we're going to be continuing talking about the Fantastic Four trailer. Obviously that dropped today, and I've been spending some time kind of going through the trailer a little bit more, checking out other videos, reactions, thoughts on it, and I wanted to discuss a few things that I didn't really mention in there. First off, there are just a few little details that I think are interesting. First off, when the Fantastic Four are kind of introducing kind of the idea of family. We have family dinner. Now, that could be meaning the four of the Fantastic Four. Obviously, we have family with Sue and Johnny. They're family. Reed and Sue are married. They're family. So the three of them are technically family, but most of the time when you think of family dinner, it's going to be parents and kids. So some of the speculation, and I believe, I'm not sure if it's been confirmed or not, is that we're going to have the kids in here. At least one. Franklin Richards. And that potential plot reason for Galactus targeting Earth is that Galactus wants to target Franklin Richards here. Now, that would be an interesting thing. Maybe Galactus realizes the power of Franklin Richards and realizes that the Earth, the world, is a threat, or probably a threat to the universe or to the multiverse. Something that Franklin can do, and we see this in the Secret Wars comics Jonathan Hickman run. They recreate the universe. They recreate the multiverse, and Franklin is creating whole new universes that the Fantastic Four is traveling to. So is that the concern, maybe, why Galactus is after them? I also do find it interesting, and this was a theory I believe brought up on the Break Room, New Rockstar's Break Room channel, about kind of that early part of the trailer where they're showing the guest kind of around. Is this potentially, and this is shot in a different aspect ratio, is this potentially going to be kind of the Fantastic Four letting people into their lives? Showing how they can be, they're public celebrities, how they can be heroes and have a family life, how those two things aren't mutually exclusive, especially if Sue is expecting maybe the second child, Valeria. There's the one scene I think people have pointed to where Sue is checking on Johnny. Johnny is kind of upside down in the chair in that scene, and they're kind of talking about why Johnny has the specific powers that he has. And I think there's a little bit of me that makes me wonder if there's a little VFX work that was done to remove a baby bump from that scene. If Johnny is maybe hanging out in a room that used to be his or something like that, and is now going to be a nursery, or just because he's there with his sister, that he just is trying to experience this change. And it could be for Valeria, it could be for Franklin as well. If, again, that idea that Franklin is the reason why Galactus is targeting it. So we could have a birth of Galactus, and then the Surfer shows up a couple months later because the beacon, so to speak, has been sent out. The other interesting thing, well, there are a couple of different ones that I want to talk about still here. One of them is the blackboard that Reed is working on. They obscure part of it, but they intentionally don't obscure it well enough in this trailer. And there's a direct kind of wormhole picture that is shown with the words multiverse next to it. So this could mean a couple different things. In the comics, it could just be, well, the first one could just be that Reed, being a genius, knowing about different, like, quantum sciences and everything like that. That was not at all eloquent. That's why I'm not Reed Richards. Actually, he's probably not that eloquent either. But, sorry, distracted myself there. It could be that he is theorizing this and that he just kind of knows. But there's other rumors out there about potentially other Reed Richard actors being in this film and us getting the Council of Reeds. Kind of like we saw the Council of Kangs at the end of the Quantumania. Instead, though, with the Council of Reeds, they're trying to maintain peace and help all the different universes. Like they're creating new worlds and things like that. And could it be the bridge? And that's what I believe it's called in the comics. I just talked about this fairly recently in the Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four video that I did. Could be that the bridge is going to play a part in it, and this is kind of the first creation of the bridge. Because one of the things that Reed always is trying to do is he's always trying to figure out, could he have done better? Could he have done something better? And especially, like I was talking about in the first video I did today, how he feels guilt for what happened to Sue, to Johnny, and especially to Ben, because Ben's whole look changed. So could it be that he is trying to step in through this wormhole, maybe use it for time travel, but instead is exploring these other universes to figure out if there was a way for him to have avoided this? So that was just a nice little nod, and I mean, we've wanted multiverse done in the MCU, and thus far, I would say the only real multiversal things, I mean, besides like animated What If, and I guess X-Men 97 technically would be a multiversal thing, but those two are animated, is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Sure, Quantumania touches on it, but that's really in the quantum realm versus a whole another part of the multiverse. It felt like it was trying to land maybe somewhere else in the multiverse in the end of that movie, but it just didn't get paid off as well as it should. So I like to see that we're just doing a whole nother movie in another universe. I don't know that there's time for Marvel to fit another movie like that in. Obviously, we're not going to see that in Captain America Brave New World. We're not going to see that in Thunderbolts, most likely. I mean, there's an off chance, but I don't think that's going to be the case. And so we're probably just looking at like a Doctor Strange 3 that would give us that. But the final thing I wanted to talk about, and I didn't talk about this previously, is John Malkovich and his character. Because I think that, I mean, there's a bunch of different theories as to who he could be playing. The big one is that he's playing Red Ghost. Red Ghost, I'm just going to pull it up here. Marvel, boom. Ivan Kragoff. Let's just look at his powers and abilities, stuff like that. Intangibility. genius level super intelligence as well. So he could maybe be a villain that Reed has to work with, or that he had worked with if they don't want to introduce Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom early in this, or if they don't really want to introduce Doom in this universe until an end credit sort of scene. Or, I mean, I have some ideas. God Emperor Doom swooping in at the last second, looking like a savior, and then leaving, taking everybody but Reed. I think that could be a phenomenal ending. Reed escapes the universe to the main MCU timeline. But Kregov, Red Ghost, is one option. Sorry, I was distracting myself there with a theory. And then another option would be Mole Man. Seems to be coming out of a dark place, something like that. You know, Puppet Master was a theory as well. The Wizard, another Fantastic Four villain. Out of all of those, I do think that Red Ghost, from the look of the character, is going to be the most likely. But I wonder if they're going to tell us for sure. I do find it interesting, though, that we see this character, but we don't see Paul Walter Hauser. Oh, why am I blanking on his name? Paul. If I could type correctly. Paul Walter Hauser in this trailer. Like, that's one of the characters we're missing. We're also missing Jennifer Garner's character. Or is it Julia Garner? I'm doing bad with names today. Sorry about that. But we don't see the Silver Surfer in this either. So, with this, I do want to just toss out one final idea. And this might be too soon, too fast, but could we still get a TV spot for the Fantastic Four first steps in the Super Bowl? What characters would you potentially want revealed there? I think having a Silver Surfer on the screen could be awesome. That would get people to pop. They would recognize Silver Surfer. On the flip side, I think you could also have a character like Mole Man, who people don't necessarily know as well from the comics, or, well, not from the comics, but from like the Fantastic Four films, but would recognize maybe this idea from The Incredibles. And so that would be a couple reveals that they could have saved if they wanted to do a Super Bowl spot still. But what else from this trailer do you think is good to talk about? I think there's a whole lot that could be talked about with this, and obviously I'm talking about a bunch of it today, and we're going to talk about it more coming up on Monday night, when we release the next episode of the 10 Minute Marvel podcast. So check out my initial reaction and impression video here on the channel, as well as then check out the podcast. We are currently talking about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on the podcast. We're going to do that again next week, but I know we're going to be spending a bunch of time on these trailers as well and talking about them there. You can find the podcast here on YouTube. Click onto the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has and everybody who's checking out the videos. And then click on the podcast tab, or you can search for 10 Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, we'll see you next time.